Hi, good afternoon, students, and Happy New Year to all the participants. I, Ritesh Kumar, Assistant Director Business Development, welcome you all in behalf of FIA to our first webinar of the new calendar year and fourth of this financial year. This webinar is part of our initiative to approach the young and budding minds in the field of design and architecture. The constants during pandemic forced us to adopt webinar as a tool of communication. Gradually, we realized this is an excellent way to reach the relevant audience across the physical and geographical boundaries at the mutual convenience. So we are still continuing the webinars along with our regular activities. I am sure you all know that we are going to talk about one of the most abundant, oldest, and sustainable natural construction material given by nature to the human being, that is wood. This webinar, we will have two parts covering aspects like sustainability, creativity, possibility, and comparison of other materials with the wood. I'm sure this is going to be a very good knowledge session for all of us in this given period of time. Without taking much of the time between you and the speakers, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Pranesh Chhibber, Country Head FII. Pranesh is the guiding force of FII India operations since 2014. He is a seasoned professional with more than 40 years of experience, out of that 20 years in woodworking with different MNCs at leadership roles for domestic and overseas assignments. He enjoys an excellent credentials and network in this sector through his professional journey. Academically, he is a postgraduate in economics with senior management courses from IIM Ahmedabad and ISB Hyderabad. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ritesh, for your generous introduction.
Sir, could you share your screen?
Can you guys see it?
Not yet. Yes, we can see.
Okay, good. So, good afternoon and a very happy new year to my young friends from the world of design and architecture, and also to their mentors. I extend you a very warm welcome to our first webinar of 2023. So let's get started. Why my title says sustainability is the only choice. Look around you and you'll see the challenges posed by global warming and the issues posed by the carbon footprint. In this hour of need to restore and look after our planet's ecosystem, designing projects and products using sustainable raw materials and processes is essential and perhaps the only solution. We humans have a collective responsibility towards protecting the ecosystem of our planet Earth by embracing sustainability in every aspect of our lives. Forestry is one such area. Forests are one of the key areas of focus when it comes to safeguarding the Earth's ecosystem. Needless to mention that forests impact climate change, and looking after them helps mitigate natural calamities. Excuse me, I will have to ask Arif to step in.
Yes, sir.
Slides are not moving.
Right arrow.
No, it's not moving.
Can you press the right arrow from the keyboard?
Yeah, right arrow I'm pressing from the keyboard. It's not going. Should I stop and reshare?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Is it okay? Can you guys see it now?
You just have to swap because we can see your notes. Just click on display setting and swap the screen.
One second, please. So. I'm unable to find the display settings. Can you?
Just
step
above,
in?
on your notes, if you see, show taskbar, next to show taskbar.
Yeah. This.
On the note screen, sir, on the screen.
I know my cursor is not going there. How do I get my cursor back in there? Give me a couple of minutes.
Sir, I'll play the PPT then.
1 second. I'm just trying to see, I mean, how I can get in there. New share. I'll do the new share.
Yeah, now we can see the slide 2 without your notes.
Okay.
Can you
good.
move the slide now?
No, slides are not moving.
Are you using the arrow?
Yeah, I'm using the arrow on the right hand side. Stop share. Okay, and I will share the screen again. So guys, can you see anything?
Not yet, sir.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, you can see your slide 2.
Okay. For some reason, it is stuck and it is not moving. So
So just move the mouse towards your notes PPT, the notes screen, and you'll see an arrow where you'll be able to move the slides.
I know the notes is onto the bigger screen.
Yeah, so just take the mouse there, you'll be able to move it towards the screen.
The mouse doesn't go there.
It'll just move it towards your right,
My right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yes.
Yeah, now it's moving.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for this. All right, so thank you, Arif. I'll resume. So, gentlemen, now a bit about us. We are Forestry Innovation Consulting, FII in short. We are a crown corporation of the government of British Columbia, the westernmost province of Canada, also popularly known as Canadian Wood. We are a not-for-profit, non-commercial organization engaged in promotion of wood species from BC, Canada in the overseas markets. We have been operational in India since 2014 and have been closely engaged across the country with architects and designers community, amongst others, as our target audience through our offices in Mumbai, Delhi, NCR, and Bengaluru. Over these last 8 years, we have helped put together a network of over 40 Canadian wood stockists in 22 cities to meet the needs of our project owners and product manufacturers with appropriate Canadian wood species. As a result, Canadian Wood has been a part of numerous reman projects all over the country and some wonderful structural projects as well. I will share some pictures of these later in my presentation. However, you will find more such pictures and more details in our ebook, which is available online on our website. So what do? We create awareness about sustainability and in the market by educating the market about 5 distinct Canadian wood species from BC, their properties and applications through the various outreach programs, including use of earned and paid media, collaterals, participation in trade shows. We also host webinars, seminars, training workshops to educate our target audience, on the benefits of our wood species, besides sharing the best practices and providing technical support. In addition, we facilitate product trials and demos using Canadian wood species with our target audience. I now draw your attention to the recently concluded 26th UN Climate Change Conference of Parties called COP26, where India made a net zero commitment by 2070, while the participating nations reinforced and elevated the world's commitment to a 1.5-degree target. I also take this opportunity to share that Canada's forest sector has long been committed to climate action. It is one of the few who supported the Kyoto Protocol in the late 1990s and was among the first to announce an action plan to help meet Canada's commitment under the Paris Agreement, enabling it to play a leading role in helping advance climate action and commitment to securing a net zero carbon economy by 2050. That is a good 20 years before India. These developments demand greater cooperation and commitment from the industry globally to work alongside the various governments towards a cleaner and greener world. We hope the COP26 declaration will support the expansion of forest certification to promote sustainably managed forests and encourage responsible consumption of wood worldwide. This does not mean desisting from harvesting forests. In fact, contrary to popular belief, harvesting forests is essential to keep them healthy. Old trees in aging forests are less efficient in sucking carbon and releasing oxygen. These decaying forests release their stored carbon slowly in the atmosphere or rapidly through wildfire, if not harvested. Thus, reforestation and sustainable forestry ensure that the carbon cycle continues through renewed and healthy forests that are storing carbon efficiently. India's forests are protected, and rightly so. This is helping it to grow its forest cover as part of its commitment towards the mitigation of global warming. India ranks third amongst the top 10 countries that have gained in forest areas in the last decade. Having said that, India is the second most populous nation in the world with a fast-growing economy that makes huge demands on its resources, making it a fiber-deficient nation, and thus we as a nation have to depend on imported wood to meet our needs. Needless to mention that to meet its commitment of COP26 of net zero by 2070, India will do well to ensure that the imported wood is certified and from a sustainably managed forest. Now, this brings us to the critics who often point out the carbon footprint created by the processing and shipping of wood around the world. However, we all know that carbon stays locked in the harvested trees, and that in actuality, far more CO2 is taken out of the atmosphere compared to the carbon footprint created, as is evident from the chart on the screen. The forests, they help curb climate change and global warming by absorbing nearly a quarter of carbon emissions, and they reduce the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. They in turn decrease the impact of climate change. So keeping forests healthy is a critical part of removing harmful emissions and cooling our planet. Similarly, building with wood and use of wood products in place of carbon-intensive materials and maximizing their reuse and recycling is a smart climate choice. I'll pause here to share a video on forestry in BC, Canada, and will resume with my presentation after the same.
There are few places on Earth that can match the diversity and richness of Canada's forests. Forests are an important part of Canada's natural ecosystem and central to its economy, making up just under half of its landscape with 8 major forest regions and a vast diversity of wood species. From planting a seedling to manufacturing lumber, The forest sector in British Columbia and Canada is an interconnected industry of forest management and wood processing. This includes planting, tree harvesting with modern, high-tech machinery, and sophisticated wood product manufacturing. The entire cycle is planned around responsible resource management. In British Columbia, forestry and wood product manufacturing are a fabric of our culture, our communities, and our people. Our forests provide a sustainable supply of wood for lumber and mass timber products, while protecting our environmental and social values of wildlife, water, community, economic interests, and First Nations peoples. British Columbia is a global leader in sustainable forest management. Forestry practices in British Columbia ensure that environmental, social, and economic needs are met for current and future generations. This matters to our customers and sets us apart from other supply regions globally. Wood products from British Columbia come from legal, sustainably managed forests. By law, less than 1% of the forests are harvested annually, with 3 trees planted for every single tree harvested. This commitment to forest regeneration results in 200 million new seedlings planted every year, ensuring replenished forests for the future. Canadian wood suppliers provide certified products under the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC, and Program for the Endorsement of Forest Certification, PEFC. These strict international certification standards add additional assurance of the global protection of forest resources and make Canada a reliable and sustainable provider of wood products. State-of-the-art technology and machinery, incorporated in our forestry practices and through our highly productive, efficient sawmills, support the production of Canada's quality lumber. After harvesting, logs are transported to sawmills for manufacturing. At the sawmill, the logs are cut to target lengths and loaded into a debarking machine to remove the bark. Next, logs are processed through primary breakdown equipment like head rigs and chip-n saws and are turned into lumber. The lumber is then sawed to specific widths and trimmed to specific lengths as it passes through secondary equipment like edgers and trimmers. A scanner will show if the lumber requires any further trimming. Next, the lumber is sorted by thickness, width, length, and sometimes by grade attribute. It is stacked, which may include stacking on sticks for kiln drying. When the lumber is dry, it is ready for final processing. Some lumber goes through a planer mill to be made smooth. Whether planed or rough, the lumber is then graded and trimmed. It is sorted by size and by grade, then finally packaged for shipment. This results in the most efficient yield of the best quality lumber. Once the lumber is packaged and prepared for shipment, it is loaded onto a network of trucks and rail cars for delivery to shipping ports for distribution around the world. Independent studies confirm that the CO2 stored in wood products far outweighs any extra CO2 generated by the efficient manufacturing and shipping of Canadian lumber around the world. Lumber produced from British Columbia and Canada is durable, strong, and versatile. Superior working properties offer design flexibility and durability. Canadian lumber products can be bent, shaped, or assembled as required, making it ideal for countless indoor, outdoor, and structural applications, such as windows, doors, gazebos, and furniture like tables and chairs. Canadian wood species are also easy to face laminate. Edge glue and/or finger joint and standard sizes and grades ensure that the same high-quality product reaches the client each time. Canadian wood products bring warmth and natural beauty to an interior and exterior application or furniture product. It can be sanded to create a smooth surface, has a superior coating adherence, and can easily take any stain or finish. Across Canada and North America, wood products are influencing design and construction, not only for interior and exterior applications, but also the construction of buildings. Mass timber products are changing the way buildings are constructed, allowing for immense spans and taller buildings made of wood. Canadian wood products are being used in a wide range of buildings and products, showcasing the versatility, strength, and durability of lumber from Canadian forests. That is why using Canadian wood is a natural choice. There are few places on Earth.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now talk a bit on Canada and forestry based on what you've just seen. Canada is home to 9% of the world's forests and boasts 36% of the world's independent third-party audited certified forests. It makes it a global leader in forest certification and is a respected source for sustainable forest products. This positions Canada as a long-term sustainable source of legally harvested, certified wood fiber to deficient nations such as India and help advance the world's collective fight against climate change. British Columbia is North America's largest producer of softwood lumber and Canada's second largest producer of pulp and paper products after Quebec. Alongside the traditional goods like cabinets, furniture, and prefabricated building elements, BC's value-added manufacturers make a variety of mass timber and next-generation lumber products. I'm sure my colleague will cover what is mass timber in his presentation later in the seminar. In addition to the wood products, BC is also home to leading architects, engineers, and consultants who support and drive the innovative use of wood in buildings and infrastructure. As a result, their services are also in demand worldwide. Just 23% of BC's forests are available for harvesting, of which 0.35% is harvested annually. This gives you an idea about the approach of British Columbia in Canada towards sustainable forestry. This approach to sustainable forestry is based on Forest Forever. It has the 14th largest forest area when compared to country jurisdictions around the world. And it is a global leader in its own right in the third-party certified sustainably managed forests, ranking third globally after Canada as a whole and ahead of all other countries except one. Through stringent regulations and continuous reforestation and science-based practices, Canada's forests flourish and remain healthy. British Columbia's diverse forests are reforested promptly using a mixture of native tree species planted in combination with the natural regeneration and are managed for the flora and fauna indigenous to the region to protect province's vital ecosystems and biodiversity. This approach has garnered international recognition for British Columbia as a global leader in sustainable forest management. While expanding wood use, British Columbia presents opportunities to collaborate with government and industry to develop a global showcase on innovative use of wood that can help meet climate mitigation goals around the world. Further, through Clean British Columbia initiative, the government is working to reduce the climate impacts of the province's built environment and establish objectives for future building performance. Building with wood reduces the carbon footprint of built environment when compared to concrete. We all know that. Here's a snapshot of the sustainable forest management in Canada. In 2002, the Forest Products Association of Canada, FPAC, became the only national forest trade association in the world which required its members to certify their operations to at least one of the three major credible international standards used in Canada. And since its emergence in 1990s, forest management certification has been adapted quickly across Canada. As of 2020, Canada had 164 million hectares of independently certified forest land. This represents 36% of all certified forests worldwide, as I mentioned earlier, and the largest area of third-party certified forests in any country. A world leader by a huge margin, Canada's certified forests cover an area of the size of Germany, Spain, and Sweden put together. And talking about sustainability, British Columbia has roughly the same amount of forested area as it did before the European settlement. Thus, abundance of wood is available for exports for a long, long time to come. Often, when we are thinking of wood from countries in the temperate and the colder climates, it's mostly pine or spruce. Whereas BC, Canada has been blessed and has much more to offer by way of its 5 distinct species. Each of these are known for their unique properties. They are easy to work with and very versatile. Amongst them, the 2 cedars are in fact naturally durable. Each of these species can be used by manufacturers and contractors for a large variety of applications, as mentioned above, from reman to structural applications and from indoors to outdoors. We speak about spruce, pine, and fir, SPF in short. This is an interior species which grows on the other side of the mountain range, away from the coast. All others are coastal species as they grow near the Pacific coast, except for Douglas fir, which is also found in the interior forests. This brings us to the next species, which is Western hemlock. It is considered excellent for furniture, doors and door jambs, paneling, etc. It is certainly, as I said, is a coastal species and is amongst the other interior applications. It competes with many tropical hardwoods to be used as a paneling and as a many other interior applications. Douglas fir, an excellent choice for both reman and Douglas and structural applications, considered ideal for mass timber, that is glulam and CLT. Western red cedar, considered great for cladding and a wide variety of external applications such as gazebos, pergolas, and outdoor furniture. And this finally brings us to yellow cedar, which is the least amount of wood that species that grows in Canada, and it actually grows in the very high reaches of the mountains covered with snow. So it is highly priced in Japan and many other countries around the globe for a variety of applications, especially where durability is a major consideration. And it is durable not just against insects and molds, but it withstands natural elements in the open admirably. Canadian wood species are available in international standard sizes as per the applications. Some of the common sizes have been mentioned here on the screen. And this brings me to a very interesting thing which I must share with the audience here today, because Canadian wood does not come in logs. It comes as lumber. What is lumber? Lumber is sawn timber, which is duly graded, consistently sized, and seasoned, which thus makes it completely ready to use, avoiding any need for sorting on arrival at the manufacturer's yard. This lumber is from mature trees, often as old as 200 years plus, and are thus highly stable, which is appreciated by the woodworking industry, not only in India, but across the globe. As I had mentioned earlier, I share here some pictures of the products made using Canadian wood species by Indian manufacturers here. Here are some furniture made by the manufacturers in India for domestic and export markets. Bespoke furniture, handcrafted furniture, very well finished. Mechanized manufacturing of furniture can be seen here. Modern furniture made using Canadian wood. Again, finally, here are some fine examples of the reman projects done with Canadian wood species. These are designed again by the Indian architects and interior designers and executed by local manufacturers and contractors. And now some fine examples of doors, windows, and window jambs made in India using Canadian wood species again. Some more doors and windows if you will see, the height of the door on the left, the main door, is more than 13 feet high. And some more examples of doors, handcrafted doors, beautiful solid wood doors here. And some fine examples of interior applications of projects done in India using Canadian wood species. Again, designed by Indian architects and designers, executed by local contractors and manufacturers in India. Some very fine example of a very famous and a very popular restaurant in Bangalore, done in Canadian wood. Again, the interiors of another very popular restaurant in Goa. On your left and on the right side of the screen, you see another health resort in Kerala. And some other interior applications. For instance, you see the picture of an auditorium on the left, which is in a medical college in Indore. And it has been done in this wood to ensure that it complies perfectly with the audio requirements in our auditorium. We also have a commercial office done in Navi Mumbai on the right-hand side. And again, you have interior applications galore. This brings me to the outdoors. Some fine examples of outdoors here, products made using cedar species of the Canadian wood. Some more outdoor furniture here for you. Pergolas and gazebos, excellent for outdoors. And some soffit examples. Now you see some fine examples of structural projects with Canadian wood, designed and executed by professionals in India. Some more examples of the wood frame construction. Tongue and groove, another great and highly cost-effective way of building with wood. Couple of examples of private houses in Goa and Delhi you see here. And then you have hybrid construction, building with wood in conjunction with local stone or bricks. A great example you see here up in the hills of Himachal Pradesh. And lastly, it brings us to a couple of examples of engineered wood or mass timber in structural applications in India. This is what you see here on the left is using GLT, also called glue lamb. These beams are curved and they are over 30 feet in length. And you also see the GLT staircase on the picture on the right, plus the rafters on the left. And another very good example of GLT use in a project in Goa for a private house, a villa. This house is still in progress and we will have more shots as we go by in the next couple of months. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Should you have any questions, please address them to us and we'll be happy to answer after the presentation by my colleague, Dr. Jimmy Thomas. Over to you, Ritesh, to take the proceedings forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for such an informative session. Now I would like to introduce our second speaker and my colleague, Dr. Jimmy Thomas. He's a well-known name in wood fraternity and is associated with us as Assistant Director Technical Services. He is decorated with a Master in Wood Science from FRI Dehradun. He is the alumni from the first batch of that institute. He is also having the PhD from University of Canterbury, Christchurch, New Zealand. He was working as a wood testing laboratory, Government of India, for 16 years before being part of our family in 2016. He is the Vice President of Indian Academy of Wood Sciences, Bangalore, He is the technical member for the Research Advisory Group IWST, Bangalore, Board of Studies, FRA, Dehradun, and he is also the member of the Furniture and Fitting Skill Council, New Delhi. Over to you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Ritesh. Just give me a sec to set it up. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And I'm sure I'm audible. Just a
Yes,
confirmation.
you are.
Thanks for that as well. One more second. Very good afternoon and a happy new year to all the participants here. I wish to appreciate all the participating students and their faculty for joining us today to understand the features of wood, the only sustainable, natural, and versatile material. In this talk, I try to provide you a basic understanding of wood, which will touch upon its versatile and unique characteristics and applications, along with a brief comparison with the other materials. Better understanding about wood will give you the confidence of, confidence to choose wood in your projects when you are, becoming a professional. So, according to the International Tropical Timber Organization, there are about 1,500 wood species in trade available across the different countries. However, you know that the quantity of wood available in the market is depleting, and the species variety or the volume of wood available is also coming down day by day. Our life is very well connected with wood and wood-based products, starting from the cradle. Many of us cannot be remembering those young stage, but still we sleep on the bed, perhaps made with wood, and the study table or chair we sit on a day-to-day basis. So wood is very important to all of us. It is very fascinating topic subject for me as well. It's a very complex material according to the science, but I don't want to frighten you. I will try to make it very simple. So when I talk about wood, there are three important terms I would like to elaborate on. Wood is very anisotropic, that is hygroscopic, and as well as fibrous in nature. So when I say anisotropy, wood is being produced by the mother nature. It has wood has non-uniform properties along and across the grain. That is simply known as anisotropy, means non-uniformity in properties. That means no two planks or wood pieces have 100% same properties like a manufactured product. That makes a lot of sense here because wood is completely natural, unlike the other construction or the materials we use every day. Depends on the method of cutting. The grains on the wood surface can be either flat, which is known as flat grain, or tangential grain, or on the other side, vertical grain or radial grain. That is, you can see on the picture on the right side of the screen. So tangential surface, the difference between tangential surface or tangential planks compared to radial planks is that the shrinkage and swelling property, those properties are different. Tangential surface will shrink more, or swelling also will be more compared to the radial and vertical surface. So when you buy wood or use wood for a good quality, high quality project so that time just consider this aspect. Wood for those applications, you try to select vertical grain timber or radial grain timber. That is point number one. Then comes the hygroscopic property. Hygroscopicity means wood responds to the changes in the surrounding temperature and relative humidity. Especially in our country, tropical area, whenever there is high rainfall during monsoon time, our main doors or our drawers are not very easy to open and close. that exactly describes this hygroscopic property. Means it absorbs and removes water by its own. Now, I would like to invite your attention to understand two more many very important aspects, that is hardwood and softwood. Majority of the trees growing around you in our country are classified as hardwoods. They are usually darker in color and heavier in weight, but not necessarily always. They are known as hardwoods not because of their weight or hardness, but only because of the presence of a particular tubular structure called vessels in them. You can see that yellow color circle on the right hand bottom side of the image. There are so many small holes. That is, they are actually vessels. On the other hand, wood of conifer trees are known as softwoods. They have very long and strong fibers in it, in place of vessels. So in other words, not all hardwoods are hard or strong, or vice versa. And these are technical terms to explain different two group of timber species. For example, in the case of hardwoods, a timber called balsa is there, which is one of the lightest of the hardwood trees. Its density is very less, around 150 kilogram per cubic meter. But on the other side, under the softwood category, Canadian Douglas fir is one of the best known timber for hardness, strength, and also versatile applications. So now I bring your attention to another couple of important terms. They are hardwood and sapwood. Hardwood is the central part of the tree where the the durable and the usable part of the wood is there. Mostly that is dark in color, not necessarily always again, and they are made up of non-living cells. Extractives, all the natural durability providing chemicals are, the deposits are there only. On the other hand, sapwood, that is on the outer portion of the trunk, made of living cells, and the growth is happening through that side. And sapwood is generally light in color. When you just lift a plank, you mostly see color variation, especially on the sideboards. So this sapwood part is non-durable and is susceptible to decay and easy attack by the insects and all. So when you select wood for your interior application, just try to use wood with only hardwood. So these are the basic few points I wanted to mention you. One more thing is moisture content. Moisture content, when you cut a tree, it will have a lot of water inside, but we cannot use timber pieces with moisture, high moisture in it, because of right moisture content is required. Around 12% of moisture on an average is required to make the good quality joints and to give a long-lasting finish to the products. So the timber has to be dried. That process, scientific process, is called seasoning or kiln drying, and that brings the moisture content down to a condition called equilibrium moisture content. So these are some of the basic parameters in wood science as well as in wood utilization. And when you are grown up and passed out and become a professional, and also when you select timber, these features or the parameters or this information will help you to take a good decision on that. Now I bring your attention to the versatility of wood in different properties, versatile properties of timber. Color, for example, we have very light colored timber, very bright and light, maybe pines or yellow cedar timber, or very light colored timber. From that to black ironwood, almost black in color. So that much variation is there in terms of color. Some of the examples I have shown here on the screen, but it's not exhaustive. You will see so many color variation. There is, when you design or make this kind of very attractive picture, You can perhaps use pieces of different timber species. This work is called inlay work. You just need to select the right timber with the right color. In this picture, no color is given, no stain is given. It is purely made of different pieces of timber with a different natural color. Now comes variation in density or weight. I mentioned about balsa, which is one of the lightest commercial timbers available in the world, just 150 kilogram per cubic meter. On the other hand, black iron wood or our ebony wood, they are very heavy. So the density of wood ranges mainly between 200 to 600 kilogram per cubic meter. And for an ideal furniture category product, raw material, around 300 to 500 kilogram per cubic meter is very ideal. So when you select wood for those interior applications, just go for this density range. Wood is very strong in performance, but it is very light in weight when compared to other materials. And if it is properly seasoned and managed, fabricated, the product will be steady, durable, and very long lasting. As I mentioned earlier, wood density or the weight of wood is much less compared to other materials. And that is a very good advantage. Steel is almost maybe 10-15 times more than the weight of the timber. I just mentioned two different timber species here to give that difference, show that difference to you. So what we are, when we use timber or wood, we are using a material which is just 1/6 weight of the concrete or much less weight compared to steel. The important point here is wood has the highest strength weight ratio. It is light in weight compared to those materials, but it has got the highest strength weight ratio. And almost all the mechanical requirements, property requirements like tensile strength or compressive strength or shear resistance, all those parameters, wood is, wood has got many advantages. And this is in brief what we have been discussing here. There is very much variation in terms of appearance, in terms of shrinkage, swelling, strength, all those different properties. Then comes the durability. There are hundreds of buildings up and running in our country also, across the globe also, made of timber, different good quality timber. Selected durable timber selected and used in a proper way. So many of those timber species are used still available in our market. For example, teak wood or our Canadian yellow cedar, red cedar, those timber species are well known for the durability. So when you make any outdoor product, exterior product, think about using only the durable timber there. When it comes to applications, my previous speaker, Pranesh, has already elaborately mentioned and shown you many of the pictures, many of the wood utilization pictures, both indoor and outdoor. So wood is a material which can be handled easily, and products can be manufactured in factory or at home or in a small workshop or anywhere, and also finished to different shades. It can be painted, it can be polished or stained, or even other without painting or without polishing also it can be used. So it's a highly versatile material for both interior and exterior applications, and also for making structural products for outdoor application. Some of you may design structural products as well in future. So wood can be usable, or wood could be the best material, sustainable material for your requirement. And the picture on the right hand side is a building, 18-story building, which was built in 67 days completely of timber. by using a particular category of timber called mass timber. Thanks, Pranesh, to mention about mass timber, ULAM and CLT earlier. So there is an upcoming area in the world of wood utilization that is called mass timber segment, where multi-story buildings are made with engineered laminated timber, highly selected and carefully managed and manufactured wooden products, ULAM timber and CLT. These two are the major components here. So wood is usable for, used for making very specialty products such as these kind of panels, very intrinsically carved product, or even tanned product, or even very special products. Wood is being used. Even the satellite parts, recently 3 months back, I read somewhere that even the parts of a satellite, new satellite, is made of wood, not complete, but some parts of the satellite. And wood, of course, you are familiar with many panels like plywood, particle board, or MDF, or all those manufactured product. Wood is the raw material. So wood itself is a raw material, and wood itself is a product as well. So I'm not elaborating here on these panel products, but giving you an idea about the solid timber, which is a sustainable material. So I wanted to elaborate here a little bit about the sustainability. Wood, I should say, is a gift of nature to the humanity, and that is only sustainable material. If you consider other materials, they all require, they all require energy to produce, or take hundreds, not hundreds, even millions of years to generate. Like, for example, rock, abundant sand, they all require millions of years to form, but wood requires maybe 5 years to 20 years to 30 years to become, usable condition. So wood is the only renewable or replenishable material. These products can be recyclable and repairable, and it is very environment friendly. So how wood is become environmentally friendly or sustainable? Many people asked earlier, when you cut tree and when you remove trees from forest, how it is possible? How can you call it as sustainable? The important thing here is wood or tree, when it is growing, it absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide, and that is the energy for the trees to grow. Oxygen is coming out for us to live. So it's a balance between humans and plants. 1 cubic meter of timber is actually 1 cubic meter storing about 1 ton of carbon dioxide in it. Once it is absorbed and stored, it is locked there unless and until it is released through fire. So when you use 1 cubic meter of timber instead of concrete, actually you are not just saving 1 cubic meter of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, it is more than 2 cubic meter of carbon dioxide. So use of timber instead of concrete and other material, that will help our future generation. So this process of making other materials, other building materials, requires a lot of energy. There is a comparison between wood and other products. Aluminium is the major culprit in terms of energy induciness. Approximately 126 times energy is required. I'm not getting into finer details of this, but you just need to think about the manufacturing process of all these products. Whenever these products are manufactured, a lot of air pollution is there, greenhouse gas emission, water pollution, or the global warming potential, all are involved in manufacturing these products. However, wood being natural, there is no much human interference is required other than cut the timber and use them into in proper shape and way. So when we talk about the building industry or manufacturing industry, approximately about 40% of the total carbon dioxide liberation, carbon dioxide production is from the building industry or the concrete related industry. We need to create this cement first, manufacture the cement, which contributes approximately 10 to 15% of carbon dioxide. A lot of water is involved. Then it also uses the most sand for making the concrete, which is the second most abundant material in the world. So a lot of energy plus pollution plus all these things are there. So the use of cement or steel or concrete, that is actually detrimental. So we should bring down the amount of these products being used in our industry. And one more thing is, as Pranesh mentioned in his presentation earlier, our Prime Minister has made the commitment in the COP26 and later this year on COP27 as well about the carbon reduction in carbon mitigation. Sorry, limiting the carbon output. So how are we going to achieve those goals, those targets? So let's start working together, thinking about using more timber instead of using other material which are more carbon intensive products. So that is why the Architects Day this year in October celebrated with the motto of biophilic benefits of timber. That was their main theme. So now I would like to showcase very important point here. Wood is a unique material. How wood becomes a unique material compared to other products? Wood, as I mentioned earlier, wood is a fibrous material, and this fibrous nature can be very helpful in the case of products made and subjected to any kind of damage, especially the earthquake damage. So wooden beams or wooden products made of timber can be more safe and more secure in terms of earthquake prone areas, and also it can hold more weight compared to many other materials. It's lightweight and high flexibility, actually allowing timber to use in many areas, many different applications. And also wood products have very good ductility. It is flexible, but it won't break like other materials. And many people ask question about the fire retardancy or fire incidents. Whenever there is a fire, wood catches fire, wood is highly inflammable. All these are comments from the public. But one thing, the wood has approximately 50% by weight is carbon. That means it itself has a feature, or the wood itself is a self-extinguisher, I should say. So the carbon dioxide inside, that embodied carbon inside, will be acting like a fire extinguisher in a fire incident. And one more important thing is that when the fire happening, after the fire, the charred surface, this top surface is just surface only is charred, but the unburned portion inside that unburned portion will have approximately 85% of the strength retention. That means only about 15% of the strength is lost. That means wooden products, wooden structure are much safer than many other products. I can give you an example here. Suppose there is a building made of concrete, and concrete obviously has the steel bars inside, and when the fire happens, the temperature will rise and the steel bars will heat up and it will expand. During that expansion process, beyond certain limit, the concrete will start breaking and their beam or the structure will collapse. But in the case of timber, being a very poor conductor, it's a natural insulator. Timber cannot, or timber transmit the energy very poorly, very less. Because of that feature, wooden beams will not fail like that. And combination of fibrous nature, insulation property, or lightweight, more high strength weight ratio, all combined together will provide the timber structure a safe environment there. So the timber is largely used for paneling inside any house, and that creates a lot of warmth and beauty, and also helping saving you the energy cost. And of course, when we get into any auditorium or concert hall where beautiful timber paneling is there, one of the examples Pranesh shown you guys in the previous presentation, in that concert hall, wood absorbs or amplifies the sound waves because it is a non-conductor of the energy material. So it either absorbs or amplifies the sound waves that produce a very pleasant atmosphere inside the hall. And of course, the beauty and warmth, all those things are there. And this feature is being used in manufacturing a lot of musical instruments as well. I have been talking to you almost all the positive parameters. Now, there are some limitations also with the timber. One is that wood is biodegradable and is susceptible to decay and insect attack. By properly selecting the timber and also giving some wood protection or preservation, we can easily manage that situation. And the response to the environmental changes of timber can be addressed by using stable, mature, and seasoned timber. And Canadian wood can be a good solution for that, good option for that. Use of illegal and non-certified timber, it's a very big issue here in the timber trade now. We can address that issue and sort that by creating more and more awareness programs, and also by policy preparation and implementation by the government organizations. The lack of expertise, many people say timber is not easy to use because of lack of expertise or infrastructure that no one can help other than creating awareness and also through training and establishing those facilities. So these all are curable problems. So solutions are already there. And when I think about the trade, approximately 10–20% of the global timber trade is illegal. And also the species diversity is depleting. I started with that only, approximately from 1,500 species to around 100 species, 100 varieties in trade. So in future, after 10 years, we may not have even 50. So what we can do together, we can think about using only certified timber. We can take a pledge, or think about on the sustainable way of doing things. So select the material which is coming from sustainable sources, certified wood, and also seasoned and graded, and all those positive features. With these positive features, wood with these positive features we should use. And with this, I should say wood is the material for the future. Now a question before you, would you like it? And thank you for your attention, and I hand over to Ritesh. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy, for such an insightful presentation. Since we don't receive any questions from our audience, so being a moderator, it becomes my responsibility to ask some of the questions to our speakers, which could be of the benefit to the students. So the first question is for Pranesh. Okay, you can
Yes,
start your video. Yeah,
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
And, it's just that before you start asking questions, let us egg the guys on and ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So let's give them an opportunity to now at least ask some questions. So guys, we look forward to your questions. Please send in your questions through the Q&A box you see down there.
Yeah.
Either on chat. I think I see 2 chats or 1 chat here. One second.
Chats are there, but I think none of them are any question. Anyway, I try to become the student today, so I can ask relevant questions.
Or maybe the mentors of the students can ask.
Yeah.
Actually, they are not allowed to speak. That could be another reason for them not to ask question.
Yeah, so let's ask the mentors. They must be surely.
They can write. They can write.
They must be talking to the students and asking. Students might be talking to them. Hello, anyone coming?
I think there is no question from their side. So let me ask few questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first question is, yes, you are promoting certification and sustainability, but we all know that the greenhouse and the global warming is the very big challenge nowadays against to the world. So how we can justify tree cutting as a whole, irrespective of the sustainability and certification?
I think I explained that on my presentation. First of all, I mean, it is a myth that cutting trees is not good. That myth needs to be corrected because, like humans, forests also need to stay fit and strong. Okay, and I think anything which ages and after a certain time, the usefulness of that either a tree or a human being recedes.
True.
So with age, everything recedes. So when trees get old, they lose the efficiency of sucking in carbon dioxide and breathing out the oxygen, which is essential for us as humans. They are our lungs. So when a tree gets old and ages significantly, it loses over a period of time the ability to suck in oxygen efficiently and give out, suck in the carbon dioxide efficiently and give out oxygen. So it becomes necessary for us to harvest the forest so that the renewed forests will be of new young trees, which will be far more efficient in performing the duty of being our lungs. They will suck in the carbon dioxide far more effectively and give out oxygen far more effectively. That is one of the reasons why we must, in fact, that is the most important reason why we must ensure that we keep on renewing our forests. Now, if we don't do that, please understand, when the forests are not harvested, those forests can be again devastated through forest fires. So why lose precious wood to forest fires? Okay, so if it is done in a controlled, systematic, sustainable manner, and the precautions are taken to ensure that the reforestation continues along with the harvesting of forest trees, I think we can have woods perpetually forever. I mean, as our slogan is, if you were to consider the practice followed in British Columbia, Canada, the industry is allowed to cut trees only if they will put back 3 trees for every single tree harvested. So they have to plant at least 3 trees for every single tree harvested, and they cannot just take any seed from anywhere and plant anywhere. No, they have to first go into the forest, collect the seeds from the area which is going to be harvested, bring it back into their nurseries and germinate those seeds and grow some saplings. And once those saplings are growing in those pods, they go and harvest the tree, so that by the time they go and harvest the forest. So by the time they harvest the forest and remove the logs from there, the saplings have grown enough. So as you would have seen in the pictures and in the video, that then the people go back into the forest and plant those saplings. So, I mean, as I said, for every single tree harvested, three saplings are planted and cared for a period in time, till such time that the saplings grow into length and health where they are able to grow naturally on their own. Until such time they have to be cared for, so they have to be cared for. So the lumber companies are bound by their commitment to the government that they will ensure that the sustainable forestry takes place.
Yeah, thank you very much for your answer. I think it is re-emphasizing the fact wood is good.
Yes, wood is very good.
Yeah, my second question is for Jimmy. So Jimmy, these timbers, the Canadian wood, they are coming from a different climate altogether. So, bringing these timbers from that climate to the India and what you feel, how these timbers will perform in Indian climate, because India has a very diverse climate from south to north, east to west. So how they will perform in Indian conditions?
Thank you, Ritesh. This is a very pertinent question here. First of all, these timber species, what we are getting from Canada, they have seen almost more than 200 seasons, means more than 100 years old. So, first of all, they are very mature trees, mature in the sense all the cells have been matured and they are ready to face these kind of challenges in the user condition first thing. Secondly, once the timber is cut and processed in the sense seasoning actually brings the moisture content down to very equilibrium, approximately 12%. That means there is very limited quantity of wood available inside the timber to react with the changes in the atmosphere nearby, wherever it goes. Whether that is in north of India in a wet but cold condition, or more humid and wet in south, wherever it is, there is not much water left inside the timber to react with the outside. That is just the quality of the timber. And these timber species are known for their shrinkage, swelling, and those kind of features. Very less shrinkage, less dimensional changes are occurring while using. So mature trees, properly seasoned, and also known for their better performance. And next thing is the way these species or this wood is being used in the user conditions. These are two of the species out of the 5 species, Western red cedar and yellow cedar. Both these species are very durable timber, good for exterior application. They are meant for outdoor applications only. So in many cases, even they've performed better than even teak wood. Teak I'm mentioning because it is a benchmark here. And so we select the right timber for the right application. For the interior application, we have hemlock, Douglas fir, and SPF. And for the exterior application, we have the cedar. So by these three different aspects, we manage, or a variant can use the right timber for those right application. Right? So climate is not an issue as of now.
Ritesh, there are 2 questions, one in Q&A and chat.
Yeah, in fact, I covered one of that.
Ritesh, sorry to interrupt you, but yes, I would like to elaborate a bit on the answer to Mr. MP Awasthi. Do I have the permission to do that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So Mr. Awasthi has asked, what is the expectancy of timber structures as opposed to RCC structures with a life expectancy of 80 plus years? So I would be actually happy to show you, if I had it readily available. There are timber structures. In fact, there are individual homes and houses standing for over 100 years, not just in North America or Canada, in many other parts of the Western world where building with the timber is pretty common, and which is the norm in those countries. And you will perhaps would have noticed in your travels abroad that the wooden structures are more in the upcountry areas rather than in the downtown metros. Okay, the downtown metros continue to be majorly concrete, though of late the movement has started, in fact, to have multi-story buildings done with wood. And one of the first examples I can quote of is the students' hostel or residence on the campus of University of British Columbia in Vancouver. This is almost downtown, and it is called Brock Commons. You guys can Google Brock Commons, B-R-O-C-K, Brock Commons, C-O-M-M-O-N-S. So if you Google Brock Commons, you will come to know about how and why and how tall the building is. But just to cut a long story short, it is 18 stories building, which was done in about few weeks flat. How many weeks was that, Jimmy?
11 weeks.
11 weeks. So the
Wow.
entire building was completed in 11 weeks. Now, it's not just about the sustainability as a raw material, wood, but it is also possible to reduce the build time, the time to build. So the advantage is that the wooden buildings can be prefabricated inside a factory, carried in components to the site and erected. So that is how it can be all done. I mean, this 18-story building having been completed in 18 months, sorry, in 11 weeks flat, is mind-boggling. I mean, to complete an 18-story building anywhere in concrete, it takes not just months, it takes years. So here we're talking about the building coming up in 11 weeks. So 11 weeks, that means it is cutting on time taken to produce, to erect the building. It is using sustainably sourced raw material, that is wood, which is a natural material for all the benefits which Jimmy has already mentioned. But there is a third aspect to it. Building with wood saves the precious water, sand, and what we call as gravel. In Hindi, we call it rodi in the north. So these are natural resources which are practically plundered by the contractors mafia, who do not actually pay anything for lifting these from the river banks or from the hills nearby the places they operate from. So understand that if these were to be paid for, construction with wood would probably, construction with concrete would probably be not as high as building with wood, but much more. So in India, we continue to have this challenge or the issue of water and sand and the gravel not being paid for in actuality. The only thing you pay for is the transportation, the labor cost, and the profit margin of the contractor. So, but the fact is that these are the resources. If you build with wood, you will not require to use the precious sands, water, and gravel at all. You build with wood without these things. So these are precious resources which are again spared from going into construction. So overall, it is very good to build with wood, not just as a raw material, but also because it helps save the other raw materials and also saves on time. As far as longevity is concerned, I've already mentioned there are examples standing across the world for houses easily more than 50 to 80 years old. There are houses which are 100+ years old. And in fact, if you go across to the villages of Switzerland and other places, you have houses for hundreds of years standing still there. So it's a very what do you call durable material. As Jimmy mentioned, it depends on two things: the raw material or the right species selected, and the process undertaken to build with wood. That has to be flawless. If the process and the raw material have been selected carefully and adhered to, then yes, you can have buildings standing well past 100 years. I hope I've answered that. And Jimmy has already partly answered the other part of the question regarding the weather and other extreme stuff that has been already answered. Yeah, thank you.
Already we have overshot the time, but since we are talking about the construction, just one small and the last question for the Jimmy, and I want a brief answer of that one. Jimmy, you shared a lot of photos of the houses performing excellent under fire and the earthquakes. But in India, we have the problem of rain and insects as well. So how they deal with that?
See, it is all about design. You know, when you think about a building, whether irrespective of the scale of the building, bigger or smaller, when you think about a building, the first thing is the design. If you design properly, considering all the different aspects, when I say different aspects, the environment there, the rainfall or all those environmental factors, the timber or the technology used. So considering all those things, incorporate all those aspects into the design. So once the design is made, you select the right raw material, select the right way of construction, method of construction, and fit and finish. All these things combined together will give you a proper product. And once you do this, I'm sure this will be lasting longer.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy.
There's a question which says, this is actually posted on the chat screen, Ritesh, and I think we should answer that. It
That
says
already we answered. This considering
who's difference between Indian weather conditions and Canadian weather conditions?
I think this was the first question which I asked
Yeah.
Jimmy. It's a similar same thing. Yeah, this is answered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that question when I asked a question already to the Jimmy.
Okay, thanks.
These are very common questions. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, Jimmy and Pranesh. So while watching the presentation and listening the wonderful answers, I realized a quote from a Persian poet and a philosopher, Rumi, that the sun comes every day with new and powerful secrets. Like today, I found some more secrets of wood. I would like to thank you all for all the faculty members and the students of Sindre Bay School of Design for taking your time and understanding about the wood, especially Canadian wood and sustainability. I am sure you must have got some good insight and information about the possibilities with the wood. I want to extend my special thanks to Mr. Basant Nair, CEO CSD, Ms. Sangeeta Vivek, branch at Bangalore, and Ashwati Manu, academic coordinator, for their go-ahead and all possible support to make this event possible. We truly appreciate that. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Pranesh Chhibber and Jimmy Thomas, for an excellent presentation and putting their time, effort, and energy to put too much in few words. I'm also thankful to my back office team and my colleagues for ensuring this smooth operation for the webinar. Before I announce the end of the session, I would again wish you all a fabulous new year and a great success to all the students of this institute. You all will get a survey link. Please, I request, please, click that link and fill the information which is required. And thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the participants.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.